this is Gilgamesh. I went last night and saw this movie, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Holy crap, what a fucking fun film. It's in the same world as the, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is a atrocious fucking movie. It's terrible. But the sequel, I haven't seen it yet, but everyone says it's much better. They had more money to do the movie. The first movie was really low budget. So was this. This was a very low budget film. As you see right here. But here's the thing. The main actor right here, this guy, Martin Portlock, I think? Portlock. He plays Peter Pan. And it starts out when he's 15 and he works at this circus. This mother brings her son there, and he talks about, to all the kids, and he sees one kid in particular who he points to, and he goes near and gives him a toy balloon that looks like a dog, when they take they turn them into animals, balloons into animals, yeah. So, and this is the actor who plays Peter Pan. I don't know who this is, but yeah. And so later on, he shows up at the house. This is the beginning of the movie, and he tells the kid hi, and starts talking to him, and says he got lost and he's missing his mother, and the kid's like, the little boy's like, how old are you? Pretty much realizing this is not some kid. This is like, he looks like an adult. And he basically wants to take this kid to what he calls Neverland. We'll get to that. And so the kid's mother goes to take a shower, and then she hears her son, she hears the noise, and she goes in and basically stops this Peter Pan from abducting her son. And basically this movie's ultra violent, practical effects. That's one thing they definitely learned from that Winnie the Pooh. If you're gonna make a movie, make it look believable. And man, is this movie at the beginning brutal. Holy crap! She stabs the living shit out of him, out of Peter Pan, this kid's mother, who later becomes an adult and is essentially becomes Captain Hook. Like, we can go down here. This is more easier to look at for the cast right here. Let's go to the cast. Yeah, this is the cast. And what I love about this movie is that it is violent. So, yeah, like I said, the beginning of the movie, it's fucking brutal what Peter... Yeah. And the mother, basically, to save her son, they get into a violent... He cuts off her toes. Holy crap. And she kicks him. And then at one point, she cuts and disfigures him. Like, she cuts his face. And... oh, man. The first... Then he takes a knife and he cuts her and he starts pulling... He scalps her. And leaves her there to die. And then, goes to her son. Yeah. And essentially... and then they go 15 years later and we meet... we meet Wendy Darlin, her brother Michael Darlin, their parents, Mary Darlin, I think their father, or her brother's John Darlin, yeah. And then we meet Peter Pan. He's got this scar from what happened at the beginning of the movie. And his skin hangs. They did a good job making it look like he got his face fucked up. It's violent. It is. This movie is so fucking violent from the beginning to the final showdown at the end of this movie between Wendy, her brother Michael, and Peter Pan. And he talks all this shit about Neverland. And Tinkerbell is in this, played by Kit Green. He does a fantastic job playing this character, Tinkerbell. And and he's a heroin addict, and it says fairy dust, or yeah, and it's obviously it's heroin, and there's a part where Michael gets taken by, and because Wendy was at the school waiting for her brother, but she got busy with her boyfriend who she hadn't seen or talked to, and then he basically decided he didn't want to leave with her and go to the big city. He decided to stay, which kind of, when her brother leaves, he gets abducted. So her mother gets a call from Peter Pan, who tells her, your son is going to go to Neverland, which, what's messed up is this movie is fucking brutal. Yeah. Oh man, they learned something from the first Winnie the Pooh, is if you're going to have people get killed, make sure it's practical, and man is it brutal. Yeah. And so Wendy goes, and her friend and her brother's best friend decide that they're going to look for him, and they end up finding a name of someone who went through this. They go to his house and they talk to him, and it turns out it's the father of this, and he tells about his son and how he thought that points out that his son at that young age thought he was a girl. And his mother his wife played into it, and basically the kid wanted to walk by himself, and then he gets tricked we see him, and he's missing his 2 front teeth, and he sees the balloons and sees Peter Pan, who takes him with him, willingly goes with him. And then when we see Tinkerbell, and like I said, Kit Green plays it very well, and clearly he's a junkie, we realize this is the boy that got the first victim of Peter Pan. Well, yeah. And so eventually, he goes after Michael's friend, and Wendy is staying with, because her mother pretty much kicks her out of the house because of Michael being taken by, she's losing all hope, says go live with your father, so she's at her friend's house, staying there because, she's going to look for her brother, and as she stays there, her friend stays on the couch, she stays in her friend's bedroom, her parents. Peter Pan shows up. Oh, he has these delusions that he tells at one point that his mother was very abusive to him, beat the shit out of him. And so he's kind of messed up in the head, and he thinks he sees this character who's telling him what to do. And so, before this scene, I'm going a little back. There's a whole scene where he's going to go and bring his friend to him. Michael's friend that he sees there, but he tells him that's my best friend, and so there's a bus with all these kids on it. Well, he's not there at the time, so they get stopped. He kills the bus driver, and then he goes on the bus and goes. He's wearing a mask, by the way. Oh yeah, he goes to a store where it's closed at nighttime, and he because he's scarred, he gets this mask to cover his face. And he puts it on, he tries it, and it works for him. And the guy goes, hey, you can't. The store's closed, and then he kills him and stabs him in the neck and leaves him the blood gushing out. You can see his neck's torn up, by him stabbing him. And then we get to the scene with the school bus, because he's going to go in, and his friend's, by the way, not on there. And so he kills the bus driver, and then gets on and takes off the mask, goes, which kids want to go to Neverland? They said they're going to take kids to Neverland and everything. And the kids scream, and they're trying to get away from it. They're going back to the bus, and they're freaked out. And then we find out what happened to that. Oh, yeah. The guy's this child serial killer. Because Neverland's not a real place. Oh, and by the director of this movie, the guy who directed this movie, ended up playing in the sequel of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. He took over playing Christopher Robin. Yes, that guy. that actor that people said was much better than the first one played Christopher Robin. Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm going to give it to the cast. The cast was really good in this movie. I enjoyed this movie. I wasn't bored. It's not really even that long of a movie. It's about an hour and 40 minutes long. So it didn't feel boring. I give it up to Martin. As the main villain of this movie, he is fucking entertaining. He makes you kind of believe in his psychosis that he's going to take these kids to protect them from their family. But the truth, he's not. And like I said, Scott Jeffrey, that's another name. But yeah, he was Christopher Robin in Blood and Honey 2. Yeah. And if you know who Mary Darlin is, yeah, okay, there's a connection between these stories of, with Winnie the Pooh and, Peter Pan and everything. And so we find out later he's taken all the kids into the woods and he killed them. Oh yeah, we don't see them get killed. We don't need to see that. And then he, of course, he cleans up, and then we see when he takes off his clothes. Oh, that's much later. First, he come and finds out where Michael's friend is living, and he goes to his home. I'm trying to remember what the kid's name is. Joey. Yeah, Joey. He goes to Joey's home. Which one's Joey? I'm trying to remember. There's Roxy. Okay, I'm not seeing Joey. They don't have his name on here. But yeah, he goes to Joey's home where Wendy is because her mother's lost hope, thinks that her son's gone forever, that she's never going to get him back. And then Wendy's there, and he shows up and he gets in. And her friend is on the bed. Gave up her bed to Wendy, and he comes in. He gets in the home because he's after, Joey. Interesting name. And he's standing over her. She opens her eyes and goes, shh. And he then proceeds to you hear him stabbing her, and then he cuts down. He brutally murders her. And that's about the only, I think teenager in the movie that you outright see him brutally murder. And then, Wendy, all of a sudden you hear, she opens her door and out comes the father, Joey's father, and he's had throat slit, and then she sees Peter Pan basically brutally stabbing the father, and then she packs her stuff to hide it, and and she puts the bag under the bed, and everything's supposed to look like she's under the bed. But then, we find out he does do one thing. He looks under the bed, she's not there, and then the camera shows she's outside. And then she goes next to the parents' room. She gets in there, and she, comes out, sees the father, and then the mother is tied up. So she tries to untie the mother, Joey's mother, but unfortunately she can't, and then she has to hide, and he brutally murders the mother. Oh, he puts a bag and tapes it up so that she suffocates to death and watches her die. And then she, and Wendy's plugged in her phone to charge it because it ran out of juice. And she looks down and sees that he's taken Joey, and then she gets the keys and gets in the vehicle with her phone and follows them for the final showdown back to where Peter Pan lives. And like I said, that Tinkerbell is this boy. We find out that he went willingly, and essentially he's totally manipulated him, thinking he's made his life better. And, and the house is just a disgusting place. And we see him beat someone with a belt. We find out later that's Captain Hook, and that's the kid from the beginning of the movie. And he's cut off his hand and put a hook in the place. Oh, yeah. So I'm not going to give the ending, but essentially there is a sequel, as it says here. They are planning a sequel. This is part of a bigger universe that this guy is planning. Yeah, because this movie essentially did well. It's all part of this Winnie the Pooh universe that they're creating, this horror universe. Which, like I said, so yeah, and so. it's violent. If you're into violent practical effects, gore, watching a guy, I said this actor right here, Martin Porlock, he's outstanding. He's Peter Pan. He believes what he's saying, even though he's clearly delusional. And you just look at this. This is the actor right here. Look at his face. This is him after, you see it right here. Yeah. Right there. This is from after the beginning. He wears the mask to hide this because he is disfigured from what happened at the beginning of the movie. But he is just so fucking good. I mean, this poster, the image of this thing. Look at that. You can see it. I mean, look at this. And this guy thinks he's protecting kids. He's really just a really psychopathic monster who believes and he's clearly been through, and oh yeah, when Wendy follows, she gets in the house and then she hides and sees Peter Pan come in, and he's all bloody from the house, and he takes off his clothes, and you see all these wounds from from the beginning of the movie. He's got all these sewed up stab wounds and everything. He looks, he gets completely naked, and it's like, ugh. Yeah, you kind of don't want to see that. But then he puts on clothes, and you see all the wounds from the beginning of the movie, and yeah, that woman did a fucking number on him. I said that's one of the most brutal beginnings to a movie where you see, and yeah, the end of this movie is violent as fuck. And they do set up for a sequel. Just to give that away, there will be a sequel to this. This is part of a bigger universe that they've been planning. And like they said, it's all part of this whole thing with the Winnie the Pooh horror universe. Like, they have a Bambi movie they're working on. Yeah, Bambi. I'll show you, just so you understand this. I saw this trailer. Yeah. It's coming this year. Right here, Bambi. The Reckoning. Yep. I'm betting this is the same people. It's got to be. It's got to be in the same... Yep, same guy who did the Winnie the Pooh. This is the Bambi movie. It hasn't come out yet. Just premise. After a mother and son get in a car wreck, they soon are hunted by Bambi. Yeah, Bambi's going to murder people. Mutant, yeah. Because his mother was killed. So I'm like, oh, what's this poster? Yeah, it's very small right now, but I was like, okay, so this is all part of this universe, because a lot of these characters are public domain. So he was like, when he did the first Winnie the Pooh, yes, Winnie the Pooh, he made the movie before the public domain. He had to wait to release it. It's not good. I wouldn't waste. It's really terrible. But the second sequel from everyone says is much better. He had more money, and it's clear he spent money on the practical effects, and he got away from the CGI gore and everything. But yeah, this is all part of the same universe he's creating with Winnie the Pooh. And so yeah, Bambi's public domain, Winnie the Pooh. So. Yeah, give him credit. He said he wanted to create this whole universe. It's like, yeah. And so the Bambi movies come in. This man said he wanted to do this. He wasn't joking. This is the guy. He came up his first movie, which was, yeah, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And he's decided he wants to create this whole universe right here. See, here it is. The Twisted Universe. Let's look at that. Here it is. Here's all the released. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, 2, Peter Pan, which I just saw. I haven't seen the sequel of this. Upcoming Bambi the Reckoning, Pinocchio Unstrung, the Pooh-averse Monster. Yeah. Okay. And then you have other projects, the third one, which, yeah, Awakening, Sleeping Beauty. These are all going to Snow White Return. These are all ones he's working on. Yeah. This is his whole universe. And when you look at the upcoming Poohverse, yeah, this is the Monsterverse one. Yeah, look at all of his movies. These are all projects he's planning. Yeah, this is the whole universe he's creating. Is this whole Winnie the Pooh, yeah, Monsterverse. It's all this shit. These are just the beginning. Look at this. This is everything going forward. This man's planning. And give him credit. He said he wanted to create a Monsterverse, with involving the Winnie the Pooh and all these public domain characters. Yeah, he's doing it. And so I'm like, okay, I didn't care for the first one. I thought it was a piece of shit. I will watch the sequel. I love this movie. I do want to see the Bambi. I'm actually starting to really want to see more of this guy because he definitely has a vision for horror, and I get it. The first movie was bad because he didn't have the money, but the second had the practical effects. This one is so good. This movie right here is probably one of my this year. I would say, just coming out this year so far. Good job to the people that made this movie, because it is really fun to watch. A good, well made, and well acted. Everybody's good in the movie. Was not bored. I didn't find one performance bad in the movie. I was like, oh god. I even at one point said, Jesus Christ, I think he's good. This may go too far. I didn't say that about when I watched other like graphic, violent movies, but this one, it was like, wow, this is may actually top of the So, and I watched fucking Terrifier 3 and thought that was great. So yeah, that's saying something. I mean, especially when you see the woman when he pulls her head. Oh my god, it's like, and that scene, by the way, if you want to check it out before seeing the movie, it's on YouTube. You can watch the trailer, everything. But yeah, I just want to do this real quick. I just saw it last night, and it's, I think it's the last time we'll be at the theater I went to. So it was actually really good. Not a very packed theater. I was like, yeah, there were people in there to see it. I enjoyed it. I know other people enjoyed it. So yeah, I give you go check it out. You can wait till it comes streaming. I don't know if how much longer it's gonna be in theater, but it's actually an enjoyable film. Surprisingly, I really did enjoy it. This is Gilgamesh. I'll talk to you later. Bye.